Hello everyone, I am the Walking Virus and welcome to Should You Play, the web series where I invest the time into a game so that should it suck, you don't have to. Today we're going to be talking about Trove, a MMORPG with a creative aspect, available for free on Steam. So the first thing that we will talk about is after you have created your character, you will be dropped down into the hub world, which you can access multiple different places of the world through this area. So we will head over this way. As you can see, the actual running is a little bit slow, but from the beginning, you get a mount that lets you move a little bit faster. So we will jump over the wall here and head out to a unclaimed plot of land. There is multi-jumps. Later on you do get the wings, as I'm showing here, which can help you travel just a bit faster. And perfect! Unclaimed plot of land, called a cornerstone. Now, this is basically where you end up creating your house. It travels around to any other cornerstones throughout the world, so you don't have to worry about it being in a specific place. You'll always have access to the things that you have made. I did not bother to make my house very, very pretty, because that's not something that I typically tend to care about, but I know that a lot of people would care about that, so there is a lot of customization to this plot available. As you can see, someone made an actual house over there. I've seen people make skyscrapers, all types of other fun shenanigans in that aspect. Now, when you first started out, you will have access to a crafting bench, which will let you create a couple of basic things. The first one they'll have you make is the loot collector. Lets you break down any unwanted items that you pick up, which you will find a ton of those. But let us proceed to the actual game. So there will be portals to take you to different difficulty zones, once you reach certain levels, you'll want to try to craft the other ones, which actually comes down to one of the first problems that I had with this game. It is a very, very grind-centric game. You will be having to grind a lot to get anything done. Combat is relatively simple. It's primarily a 2 to 3 button game. You've got the left click for basic attack, right click has a more specialized attack for most of the classes, and as you proceed along, you actually unlock a tier 1 skill and a tier 2 skill. That is about the extent of the skills in this game. Each class has separate ones that will require you to play slightly differently. So for example, I personally am the game's version of the Barbarian, called the Candy Barbarian. I can leap smash in, it'll drop down an item that makes me attack quicker. When I do the spin attack, I actually heal up more, so I can just keep fighting. As you can notice, these guys actually do hurt a little because I'm in one of the higher difficulty portals. And then my ultimate attack, which actually has quite a bit of recharge, drops down a giant ice cream cone that fully heals me and everyone else in my party. So, the combat is fairly simple, but it is still entertaining and engaging. You have to be paying attention, making sure that you're using the skills at the appropriate time to make sure that you and your party aren't just dead immediately. Now, to the best of my ability, there is not actually a group system. It's pretty much just run in with other people and work together, but anyone in the nearby vicinity will get healed as well because they assume that you are working together. Looks like whoever it was around here just beat the boss for the area, so that's too bad that I won't get to show that, but considering this is the higher level area, doing it by myself is more than likely suicide anyway. So as you can see with the combat, there's not too much going on. The main way that you level up, and pretty much the only way to get any items, is to complete the dungeons in the different areas, which, let's see if I can find one relatively close by. If I keep heading in this direction, I should run into one. Now, as I said with the customization aspect, you can actually create and build your own house. If you like the color of any block that you see, for the most part, you can just immediately hit tab, and it'll go into the crafting gathering area, which you then just right click and you can collect blocks of whatever color from the world that you wanted. So I want these purple blocks, I'm just going to take these purple blocks, and they will eventually respawn for everyone else to gather as well. So now I have some purple blocks to go and take care of at my house if I so chose. There is also crafting recipes that you can end up collecting to unlock more customized blocks, more improved blocks. As well, there is a lot of resource gathering to be done in order to create any of the portals on your own property. There are a couple of the portals on the hub world, but in order to create any of the stuff on your own property, you will have to grind a lot. So if you are not a fan of grinding, this game is probably not going to be for you, because it is essentially mandatory to get anything accomplished at all. Even if you want some of the more basic things, you will be grinding for ores, you will be grinding for levels, you will be grinding for just typical items that you would find around the world quite often. Oh. I was about to show you something, but this guy decided that he did not want me to show you immediately. So, they do have the random drops. The big problem that I have with the game as far as the drop system is considered is that it reminds me very much of original launch Diablo 3, where the drops just seem significantly less than what you would actually need most of the time. Now, the enemies will occasionally drop little treasure chests. You can open them up and they will have random items which can help with the grind, but more often than not will just leave you with a bunch of useless junk. So, since I am on the harder difficulty, this might not go as well as I would hope, but we are going to go in and give you a show just to show you what these types of dungeons are like. So we come in, we see the big bad baddie. Oh yes, this is going to end horribly. You will have some type of objective. It's usually end up fighting this guy for a second. Try to defeat him. And as I said, I'm on the higher one, so doing this by myself is quite a bit more difficult than it should be. I also sadly fought too many smaller things and ran out of flasks, so we are just going to find a cornerstone, which is sometimes actually harder than you would think. Aha! Going to fly over here to bring up my house so that we can refill my flask. Now, as I said about collecting the blocks, once you actually have blocks that you want, it's very, very simple to actually apply them to your house. You just left-click on any area that it actually is acceptable. Which, for some reason, right now, it does not want to cooperate. Aha! Now, the game does kind of have bugging out issues on occasion. So yeah, let's say I wanted to make a little shack like over here. You could just start placing blocks, make your own little wall, create a different subsection, create a perimeter, create whatever you want, really. I honestly feel like this is kind of what LEGO Universe should have been way back in the day when they initially contemplated bringing that out. So they do have a lot of really good ideas with the game, but if you are not a fan of grinding, or if you're looking for something really, really complex, it's probably not going to fill that niche, because there is a ton of grinding. The combat is very, very simple. There are a bunch of nuances with having to like position yourself and time the actual abilities accordingly, but it's a very, very simple combat system. Now, there is definitely a big community, so there will always be people to play with, and most of them that I have seen have actually been relatively friendly. There hasn't really been too many people trying to purposefully deny you things. it helps that the game also makes sure that you can't get stolen from, essentially, because if you're in the area, it will create loot for you. But I would say that if you are looking for an MMO that is just a little bit more casual, a little bit easier to pick up and put down whenever you want, Trove is definitely a good call. As I said, if you don't like the grinding aspect, or you're not looking to be all that creative with the plotting, there's not really too much for it. It's a lot of repeat the same dungeons over and over and over again just to get higher levels so that you can repeat more dungeons to get hopefully better stuff, even though the drop rate seems to be atrocious. Well, that is all for me today. If you guys liked what I had to say, feel free to leave a comment in the section below. If you didn't like what I had to say, leave a comment letting me know what I can do better. And as always, hopefully you subscribe, and I'll see you next time.